Hey everybody, so today we get a backdrop of Sesame Street. My daughter just got to celebrate her second birthday, and we got to celebrate it with this crew. Abacadabby and friends are her favorite things. But today I want to talk about choking. Um, and not just choking, but making decisions under pressure, right? Because we all find ourselves in this, right? I find myself making decisions under pressure all the time. Just recently, I took over High Rise in 2014, and it's been kind of a stressful, pressure job. Because when we took over High Rise was bleeding customers. A lot of people thought when the news that High Rise was spinning off or shutting down, that just meant High Rise was going to sunset and just shut down. But it was never true. So when we came in, we were already losing customers. We hadn't even done anything yet, and we're losing customers. So we immediately got busy and just started trying to fix this, talking to customers, improving the product really rapidly. And we could see, like, right away, customer growth started increasing. And then finally, it got to this point where we started having weeks of growth. And then all of a sudden, in 2015, it got crappy again. So it started kind of cycling, and there's still a little bit more bad than good. So what happened? I choked. What does it mean, I choked? Well, I think another really good example of someone who choked recently was Jordan Spieth. You don't have to know anything about the Masters or golf tournaments, but there was the Masters golf tournament was just about a month ago, and a guy named Jordan Spieth, he's like a 22-year-old phenom. He was the favorite to win because he won it last year, he was a runner-up the year before, and he wins like crazy. He's a really good golfer, and so everybody thinks the guy is going to win this tournament. And on Sunday, the last day of the tournament, he's in the home stretch. He's got 9 holes to go. He's 5 strokes ahead of the next guy. And so, yeah, he looks like he's a lock to win this thing. So he goes into the 12th hole at Augusta, which is called the Golden Bell. And it's a short hole. It's a par 3. I think it's the shortest on the course. But the distance kind of hides its difficulty because this course, this hole, the wind, it circulates, and it's really unpredictable on this hole. And the green is really tiny, and there's this creek that just kind of, surrounds or is in front of the hole. And so all of the advice, if you go look up the advice on playing number 12, it's all the same. You play it long, all you do is make sure you get over the creek, and you aim for the middle of the green. You never go for the pin, because the pin is placed in such a way that it's there to trick you, because if you land on the right side of the green, it's just going to go into the water. So you aim for the middle of the green. You never aim for the pin. And don't even take my word for it. Go look it up online. You'll hear all the old-timers like Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino. They all say about the same thing about number 12. And so Jordan, what does he do? So he's on the number 12 tee, and he hits what he says is a draw to the pin. And wouldn't you know, the ball hits the green, comes back down, and falls into the water. And not only that, it just gets worse from there. He drops a penalty shot. Near the creek, and that ball goes right into the creek. So when he finally finishes the hole, he completes a quadruple bogey, and now I believe at that point in time he was now in a deficit of 3 behind the next leader. He ends up catching up a little bit, but he ends up losing the tournament, something that it looked like he was a lock to win. What happened? He choked. So what does that even mean? Like, can we understand what that means so we can take some advice from it? Sean Baylock is a professor of psychology at the University of Chicago. She's written a book called Choking, and it's a fantastic book, and there's some interesting insight in there. One of the things that stands out the most is that choking is actually 2 things. I think a lot of us kind of confuse it as just one, but choking is actually 2 things. One, it's when we have something that we do that is usually automatic, like a professional hitting a golf shot, but our brain, our prefrontal cortex kind of comes in and starts messing around with those things that are kind of just habitual and automatic. The next thing that choking is when our prefrontal cortex should be making decisions, but now it doesn't do it well. And there's various reasons for that. But we can see these types of choking in Jordan's performance, right? So, he's getting up to the tee, and he's hitting this golf shot, and it's a poor golf shot. He said, it was the right club, but he put a poor golf shot on it, right? And 2, but he's making poor decisions at the same time, right? He should have never been hitting the ball to the pin to begin with. So why was he hitting a poor golf shot? If you go back and you read a quote of Jordan's, that people interviewed him afterward. He said, he got up to the ball and he was thinking, I'm just going to hit this draw to the pin. And that's a problem. He's thinking when at that point in time, he should have just made a decision and just executed something that's already automatic for him, right? So Sean Baylock's research, they had a bunch of people play golf in front of her, actually putting with this research team. And what they found was that if they got these golfers to count backwards by 3 or even sing songs to basically distract their minds, they did much better, because then now the golf shot is just this automatic thing that their prefrontal cortex isn't interrupting. So you see Jordan thinking when he shouldn't be thinking at all. And so I think that's why you're seeing him hit poor golf shots. But not only that, but he's making poor decisions. He should have never been aiming for the pin. And another thing he does is when he drops the ball for his penalty shot, if you read some of the old-timer advice, a guy named Lee Trevino, he says the number 2 rule, besides not just aiming for the pin, you don't aim for the pin, you never drop it in front of the creek for your penalty shot. Why? Because the ball is on a downward hill slope and it's wet down there, so you're likely going to just hit it fat into the water, which is exactly what Jordan does. So Jordan makes yet another poor decision here and a poor golf shot. Why? Why is Jordan making all these poor decisions? I think that you'll see some interesting stuff here when you realize that just a couple days before this, Jordan was hit with a slow play warning, which means he's just playing the game too slow, and they start watching him. If you play slow again, you're going to start incurring penalty strokes. And this isn't unique for him. A few months before this, I think it's like the Abu Dhabi HSBC tournament, he invoked another slow play warning. The guy, Jordan, is a slow player. Players complain about him, fans complain about him. He takes an inordinate amount of time to play almost every single golf shot, right? And so if you read Jordan's research again, she talks about those things that we need to use our prefrontal cortex for. We need to have the horsepower to be able to do that. And when we spend too much time doing things like worrying, or our brains are tired, they act like muscles. They can become exhausted. And when you look at Jordan's performance, he exhausts his prefrontal cortex before Sunday easily, because he worries about every single golf shot the whole tournament long, even things that don't need that kind of attention. So I think if Jordan wants to improve, one, he needs to know how to turn his brain off when he's already made a decision. But I think more importantly, he's got to learn to reserve some of that horsepower, play faster, get through things that don't actually matter, so that he has the wherewithal and the brains and the power now to kind of deal with situations when they come up, when they are important. Going back to High Rise, I think I see some of the same things that Jordan did in my performance back in 2015. So what ended up happening in 2015? So I brought in Noah Loring. He is the data scientist at Basecamp. Really smart guy. He started looking at what we had done and kind of where things went wrong in 2015 when we started bleeding customers again. What he found was really shocking. So what he found was all the work we had been doing in 2014 and up to this point, we were indeed improving our retention numbers. Customers were really enjoying the stuff that we were kind of putting out in product improvements. And then all of a sudden things got bad again when we deployed a marketing site redesign. So in 2015, we deployed a complete overhaul of our marketing site. We started from scratch. Every single page, every single picture, all the copy on the site was completely redone, and we screwed it up. And I think, again, you're going to see both of these screw-ups, these chokes in my decision-making. First of all, we shouldn't have done as big of a project as we did, right? I've been running businesses for years, and it's never a good idea to take on bigger projects than you have to. You try to find small things to change. You break things up into little increments. And we bit off an enormous project with a site redesign and changed every page. And we really shouldn't have. We should have focused on just a single individual page, because we could. We could have really done that. But instead, and when I saw us do this, my gut did say, oh, we should be doing this. But my brain came in, and it was like, you know what? Let's let it ride. Let's let the A/B test kind of decide whether or not this is going to work. And that was a really poor decision. Decision that should have been a good gut decision became this thing where my brain interrupted me. But then a huge reason why this ended up then becoming bad was then I made another poor decision because the split test was completely wrong. We ended up testing the total number of signups that we do at High Rise, which includes free and paid. Turns out we improved the free numbers quite a bit, but then the paid numbers went down with these new changes we made to the pricing page. So what ended up happening? in 3 hours, we redesigned our plans page, our pricing plans page, to match what it looked like before our redesign, and we improved our conversion, our paid conversion numbers by 70%. We started growing again. Right? So why did I screw this decision up, right? Well, I think if I should have, first, number one, I should have, gotten Noah involved way earlier on, and I should have involved Noah earlier afterward, like, hey, this is what's happened, like, how do things look? And I didn't. But why? Why did I make a poor decision? I think, again, just like Jordan, I've exhausted my mind on things that don't matter. I've become kind of worn. My mind is racing at night about decisions we want to make, and why isn't this working out? What can we do here? When it shouldn't be, when I need to take that time to recharge. So, I think I've gotten a lot better now, trying to only worry about the things that I can change. For example, like, our traffic kind of tanks again here in May. We see a lot of our core customer take vacations. When we send them an email, we get a lot of out-of-office responses. Instead of worrying about that, I just take it. Just take it. I can't really do anything about it. What I can do is I can get another project out. I can improve the product. I can still communicate with people who are still around. And as for that mind racing, it might sound cliche, but I've started meditating. At night, I start practicing some stuff that you can read about in books. There's a really great app called Headspace. They've even got like a little SOS function in there. I think it's only about like 10 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes. It's just like a really quick, hey, you need some help here, here's a quick thing of meditation to do. And it's been super helpful. And so that's it. I think Jordan's example, unfortunately, is good for us. We can look at how we should not choke. We have to kind of go back and look at our decisions. And if something looks like it's something that like we have made over and over and over again, if it's a decision that often is automatic for us, we have to make sure we let our gut, take over and get our brain out of the picture. But then when it comes to decisions where we know we have to do quite a bit of thinking on, we have to make sure we're doing it from a rested place. We can't be worn. We can't have exhausted our minds with worry. You got to take a step back. You got to rest before making those decisions, or else you start making some very poor decisions. So I hope that helps, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you again soon.